And now we are officially live. Hi, Tracy.
Hi, Dr. Kim.
Nice to pretend to just be you.
It's nice to pretend to just be you too.
we just had a whole lovely conversation thinking we were live and we were not. So every single time I do something new, I get one thing figured out and then I do something new crazy on it, but we'll figure this
Every
out.
moment is a brand new baby moment.
So Tracy, it's so good to see you.
It's so good to see you too.
And I want to read your bio that you sent me. And then we're going to dig into what you do, because the way you were telling me your story before was amazing. And I'm sure everyone else would like to hear it too. So do you ever feel like life is coming at you? Like you're playing a perpetual game of whack-a-mole all the time. Something comes up over here and you whack it down. Something comes up over there and you whack it down too. Before you know it, days, weeks, sometimes years have gone by and it's all been an overwhelming blur. Mm-hmm. Tracy, you've been there too. And using your unique combination of experiences as a former teacher, a certified life mastery consultant, which sounds amazing, and 25 years on the yoga mat, you help busy moms regain control of their lives and get their joy back. And I know every single one of us could use some more control and could definitely use some more joy. So tell us, how did you start in this process and in this story?
Well, honestly, I believe I have been helping others and, my friends. I was kind of the go-to person going back to sixth grade, I think. But what really set me on this path was when my son was about 3 years old. I noticed some concerning behavior and pessimism and negativity and self-loathing, not liking himself.
At 3.
And 3. And that caught my attention. How in the world does a 3-year-old know enough about the world or himself to dislike himself? So I didn't know it then, but he was getting it from me. Mm-hmm. He was mirroring me. Now this kid keeps me honest. Okay. He reads me like a book.
Tend to do.
They do. And he's an old soul as well. He's very intuitive. I swear he can see right through me sometimes. Mm. So I got busy, that really caught my attention. On the outside, I was his mom. I was doing all the mom things. I was happy, putting on that happy face, right? On the inside, I was a hot mess. Mm. I was feeling overwhelmed. I was feeling out of control. I was feeling isolated, really completely lacking joy. Mm. And I had brought all of this stuff with me into motherhood from my childhood, as well as some PTSD from his birth that wasn't healed yet. Mm-hmm. It wasn't fully healed. I had begun the process, but I didn't have time. I had I had my daughter 17 months after he was born. Wow. And I didn't really have time, right? So I had, it was a lot. So I started pulling apart my life bit by bit, piece, looking at every piece and tossing what no longer served me, keeping what did. But I didn't know what to do next. Mm-hmm. So I had, if you think about, like, you get this package, like a sleeping bag, you get a sleeping bag, right? Your first sleeping bag, and it's in this bag, you pull it out and you can't put it back in, right? Well, when you pull everything out of the box, right? You can't put it back in. No. I have moved everybody's cheese in my life. Mm. And this was another time where I was on my knees and just, please help me. I don't know what to do next. And shortly after that, I went to a workshop. I just felt this nudge to go to this workshop. Mm-hmm. And I had been, throughout this process, I had read books, I had been to done courses, been to workshops, retreats. I did a 9-month yoga teacher training, like all this journey. And it's not like I hadn't been doing it for 20 years already. I just did it deeper. And then I went to this workshop. I met my coach and it completely changed the trajectory of my life. Mm. I knew when we started working together that that's what I wanted to do. Mm-hmm. So now I get to, I learned how to live a vision-driven life, which is a completely different way of living than we're taught, right? We are taught to, like, this year is a perfect example of circumstance, right? We are taught by well-meaning, loving, people that we live our life according to circumstance. living a vision-driven life is a deciding what you want and moving toward what you want rather than pushing away from what you don't want. So using my unique combination, as you said,
Yeah.
of teaching and being a certified life mastery consultant, almost 30 years on the yoga mat, and being a mom of 2 kids, I am now able to, well, I was able to regain control of my life and get my joy back. And now I teach moms how to do the same.
So how do we do that? We're moms with teenagers, and we've got, especially now where things just feel so out of control and our kids are
Indeed.
miserable.
Hmm.
They're not happy. We want them to be happy, but we don't know what to do.
Yeah. Yeah,
So, and we're struggling too because this is really stressful on all of us. So
it is.
help us, Tracy. What do we do?
Yeah. So I've I've designed this. It's called the FAB framework,
Mhm.
right? So the very first thing is deciding what you want.
Mhm.
You know, I spent years of my own life sitting in indecision, waiting for the lightning bolts to come down and tell me exactly what to do. But it's the other way around. You have to decide what you want first. What kind of relationship do you want with your teens?
Mhm.
What do you want your home life to be like? I actually had one of our clients one of my clients at the very beginning of, it was back in March, and she said, I'm feeling a little guilty because I feel like we've been in training for this. Like,
Mhm.
because it's a moving toward
Mhm.
what you want, I'm continuing to plug ahead and move toward what I want rather than I'm so grateful that I had done this work to this date. But here's the thing, it's never too late. You can start right this minute deciding what you want and deciding on a life vision. Okay. And
And
it's
I
a life vision. Yeah, go ahead.
Oh no, go ahead. Tell us. Yes.
A life vision it's really a decision. It's making a decision for your life, not based on circumstance, not based on, your health or your relationships or your job, the pandemic, the election, any of those things. Deciding what you want and from your heart and not the logical. We tend to go the logical. Well, this makes sense. I'll do this. It's really leading from your heart and using your logical mind to help you take the steps. So
Yes.
the very first step is focus on what you want. And as you talk about teens, there's a lot of pushback. We have pushback, they have pushback, but I think a lot of it comes down to not really having a clear vision of how we want to experience our teens,
Right.
what kind of relationship we want with them.
And I think one of the things that I hear too is that, parents will say, well, I want a good relationship with them, or I want a happy relationship or a peaceful relationship. But I think that's so vague.
It
What does
is.
that mean? So from what I'm hearing, your vision needs to be far more concrete. Like,
Yes,
what does that look like? What exactly does that mean to have a peaceful relationship with them? Because
that
then
is
you've got
exactly
something to
it.
work for. Okay.
Yeah, that's exactly it. And it's different for all of us.
Hmm.
It's not all of us want the same kind of relationship with our kids, and that's exactly it. What do you want to be experiencing on a daily basis? What kind or going on trips or anything. Like what do you want your daily life to look like?
Hmm.
And then taking the steps, and we'll get to that in a little bit, but it's really all about deciding, being happy. So if you think about this, if you want to build a house and you go to you find a contractor and you say, build me a beautiful home. What? It's the same thing, right?
Hmm.
I want a good relationship with my kids. I want a beautiful, what in the world does that mean?
Yeah.
So it's kind of like, it's creating an energetic blueprint, really, of what you want and writing it down. I actually write my vision down every single day. That's
Oh,
kind of
wow.
part of my, not the whole thing.
Right.
I teach visioning 3 years out, but when I'm writing it daily, I'm writing it about a year out, but
Okay.
really, really digging into what I want, having one-on-one time with my kids. And what does that look like? It's different for each kid. So getting really super clear about what you want. That is the number one. That is being a vision-driven mom.
Hmm.
Living a
I love that.
vision-driven life is living from a vision.
Hmm.
Yeah,
That's wonderful. Yeah.
that's
And the clarity of that too. And I think what's one of the things too, and I want to hear more about the steps, but I'm kind of guessing that when you have that vision, you start naturally acting the way you need to act to get there because you don't necessarily
mhm,
know how to get there. And I think that's
right,
what a lot
right,
of parents get so frustrated because they're like, I want this. I don't know how to get this. So
exactly.
what do you tell them?
Well, that is step two in that framework. How did you know, Dr. Cam?
Oh
But honestly, the second step in the framework is align. So aligning your mind with the vision of what you want.
no.
Because if you are having these thoughts of I have a horrible relationship with my teen, and this is not working, and I she doesn't like me, and I'm not liking what she does. If you're having those thoughts but you have this vision, it's not, it doesn't
Mm-hmm.
equate, right?
Yeah.
It's not congruent.
Mm-hmm.
So you have to, and it's mind work, mind management. It's continual every single day, all day, throughout the day. You're upping you're upping your thoughts.
Mm-hmm.
You're having a different thought and believing. You have to believe that it's possible. Nothing's going to happen if you don't. Your vision is not going to come into fruition if you don't believe it. If
Right.
you are, if you're having this vision, but yeah, that's not going to happen for me. It's not going to happen. So you have to align. And once you're aligning, your thoughts create your reality,
Mm-hmm.
honestly. So
100%.
your thoughts generate your feelings about something. Your feelings generate your actions. And
Mm-hmm.
those are sometimes things that you do, sometimes things you don't do, or perpetuating thoughts. And then your actions generate your results, which is what your life looks like. So thought work, incredibly important. And always, but what if? But what if I had an amazing relationship with my kids, what would I do?
Mm-hmm.
How would I act? Now that's kind of the part of the third step. But yeah, it's all about, you have to believe that it's possible
Yeah.
in order to have
It
it.
is. It is. And one of the things that I'm always telling parents, it is 100% possible to have a good relationship with your teen. And I think people just innately don't even believe that. And they go in with the expectations that they can't. And then that's what they manifest. Right.
That's
So I
exactly it.
love what you're
Yeah.
saying is that you have to know. And I am telling you, it is possible to have a good, beautiful relationship with your team, but you got to believe it first. I love that.
Absolutely. And it takes making changes in
Mm-hmm.
yourself.
It does.
And here's another thing. When you start, I spent most of my husband and I have been together for 25 years. And for a lot of that time, and still until I got into this work, I was trying to make him be what I wanted him to be. Okay. I
Mm-hmm.
think we do that with our kids too.
All
We
the
we
time.
work so hard at trying to make them be the way that we want them to be. But really what we need to be doing is working on ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
Because if we are, and that's what I learned from my 3-year-old, right?
Mm-hmm.
And he's 13 now.
Mm-hmm.
What I learned was when I started working on myself, everything around me changed. My husband, I started finding
Mm-hmm.
books on my husband's bookshelf that he's an engineer. I never would have thought that I would have
Mm-hmm.
been, and I didn't suggest them. It was him, but it was because I was working on myself. So if you are putting on that, what does it feel like to be a calm mom, right? What does it feel like to be a
Mm-hmm.
calm parent? You put that on. Actually, that's part of step number 3. But you have to believe, and I also believe anything is possible.
Yeah.
No matter where you are in your relationships or in your life, anything is possible. It is possible to have a good relationship, and good, you have to decide what good means.
Exactly. Right.
Yeah.
Exactly right. So
Yes.
then what's the next step?
So the next step is become. The
Okay.
third step is become. So you don't, so as you create your vision, and and what I like to do is 3 years out, because it gives you time. Now
Mm-hmm.
you don't, it doesn't, not to mean that it's going to take 3 years, but it gives your mind, your ego, a chance to say, oh well, a lot can happen in 3 years,
Mm-hmm.
right? And sometimes it's like light speed, it happens super quick. But you have your vision of who you want, or what you want in your life and who you want to be, and you become her. You don't, she's not a place to get to. She's not a goal to reach. You become her in your daily life.
Mhm.
So you put it on. What, first thing in the morning, what does it feel like to be a calm parent? What does it feel like to have an amazing relationship with my kids?
Mhm.
And you put it on every day. And you know what? You might have to put it on, especially in the beginning, 100 times during the day,
Yeah.
but it's possible. This is what it feels like. What I like to do is use the woman that I'm becoming as my inner mentor and kind of look
Hmm.
back, and ask her questions. And I do this exercise. I write a question. So I use my journal. I journal every day, but I like to write a question with my dominant hand, which is my right hand,
Mhm.
and answer with my left hand, my non-dominant hand.
It
I
would take
learned
me
this.
all day.
Well, I know it, and that's why, right? Because
Yeah.
your dominant hand it's fluid and it just happens, and the left, your non-dominant hand is that you have to focus.
Really work
It's
and
really
focus.
interesting.
Yeah, it
So I
is.
like to ask questions of my inner mentor. What's the next step? What should I do next? And
So,
sometimes I'd be guided to somebody like you, right?
right.
Sometimes it's like, oh, well, maybe you need to go talk to, and you get those little nudges too,
Mhm.
those little inklings that, wow, I really need to do this thing.
Right. I can do this. And I think one of the questions too, like you're saying, just become it. And I know a lot of parents, they're trying to do that, and their teens don't necessarily buy into it, and they're not playing along. You're going, yes, I want to become this and have this great relationship with however I'm defining it. My teen is not participating in this.
Right.
So how do you keep your thoughts in that framework and staying positive and staying in this place of becoming this when your teens are not helping?
You continue to go back and connect with your vision. This is what I want. The relationship that you have with your teen right now is a circumstance. You continue to move toward what you want, because when you're pushing, when if you throw up your hands and I give up, this is just the way it is, then that's what you're going to get.
Exactly.
Right. And so,
Mhm.
we're in business, Dr. Cam, right? So we know that you just, it's another one of those things.
Mhm.
You have to continue moving forward. This is what
Right.
I want.
Right.
My husband and I, we've been together for 25. I mean, we pretty much, we've grown together over 25 years, lots of changes and lots of circumstance, but we both have this vision of what we want our relationship to be like. And so we continue moving in that direction.
Mhm.
And, regardless, now here's the thing, we can't make anybody do anything. We can't. We only have control over ourselves, over our thoughts, right? Or we have 100% control over our thoughts. Even if, now I'm not, everything is possible and everything is possible, but even if you didn't end up having this relationship with your teen, how great would it feel to be living this way anyway? Would you rather live your life circumstance driven, or would you rather live your life moving toward something, moving toward what you want? And then when you look back, you'll think to yourself, you know what? I did the best that I could. I
Mhm.
really did. And you can be proud of yourself.
Right. And I think too, what you had mentioned with the mentor, and I love this, where you kind of have your future of where you want as your mentor. I think when you're in that moment with your teenager and they're not playing along and you're getting really frustrated, to stop and say, I can either react the way I'm always reacting,
Hmm.
or let me talk to my mentor, this
Right.
where I want to be. How would that person react? How would they react in this situation? Because if we continue to react in the same way over and over again, and this always gets me when people are like, God, my kids won't do anything until I yell. Well, you're training them to wait until you yell, and so
Exactly.
you're the one perpetuating that behavior. It's not your teens that are perpetuating it, you're doing it because you're always resorting to that response, and they now know
Right.
that, so they know they've got until you yell to wait and do it.
Hmm.
So constantly doing the same behavior and being upset that our teens aren't changing because of it.
Right.
Um, no, they're not going to. So I love how do I know what to do? Ask your future self of where you want to be.
Mhm.
How would that person handle this situation? Is
Exactly.
that
And
right? Am I
it
getting it?
is. That's
Okay.
exactly it. How would she do it? And I like in those, and I have to remind myself. And I've been doing yoga for almost 30 years. I have to remind myself to breathe. I don't think I breathed last week. I think I was just in a constant state of,
Yes, I feel that. I know that feeling.
but I like to, okay, you stop, take a breath, and your breath allows you, if you take it, it's incredible what a breath will do for you. Take a breath, and then you can respond instead of react. And
Mm,
maybe you just don't, maybe your responding is not doing anything, you know. But the woman that you're becoming, she's already been through all this, right? So what a great mentor she is.
mhm.
You don't have to, she doesn't have the same problems that you have, right? So
Yep.
she's your mentor.
Yep.
But that's exactly it. And responding instead of reacting, huge.
That is a
And
big, big one.
it takes practice, it takes practice. I like to look myself in the mirror in the morning and tell myself affirmations like I've got this, and I am this. Oh gosh, I'm going to tell you a quick story.
Okay.
um, when um, when I was pregnant with my son, my husband and I did the Bradley birth method, which is
Mm,
where the partner helps you, and it's a natural method
mhm.
of birth. Didn't work out that way. A story from another time, but anyway, I loved what our instructor said to all the partners. She said, "Okay, there's going to come a point where the woman, the mom who is getting ready to give birth, is going to say, 'I can't do this.'" And she said, "You look her in the eyes and you say, 'You are doing this.'" And
Mm,
I love that. My husband and I, it's kind of a joke between us. I mean, we've been using this for 13 years.
mhm.
I am doing this. We
I
are doing this.
am doing
I
this.
am a calm parent. I
Mhm.
am, and I do have a good relationship. Telling
Mhm.
yourself though, and maybe in the beginning you're not really believing it, so you say, "I'm shifting into believing."
Mhm. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And they're just those little.
Yeah.
I'm
Huge
becoming
impact. Yeah.
becoming the kind of mom that I want to be. I'm becoming the kind of parent that I want to be.
And it's amazing because the brain, as smart as the brain is, the brain can be tricked very easily. In
Yes.
fact, it's always tricked.
Right.
Unfortunately, it's usually tricked to the negative, and we
Yeah.
can trick it just as easily to the positive, and it has the
Yes.
same impact. So I
Exactly.
think people think being negative is being realistic, but it's just being negative, and
Right.
being positive is just realistic. We get this sense that it's not. So I love the idea of just saying, "I am this."
I
Because your
am.
brain starts to believe it and you start acting that way. And
Yes,
I know
exactly.
it's astounding that that works, but it does work, and
It
it's
does.
so cool. So Tracy, I love this. How can people find you, learn more from you? Tell us.
Okay. Well, I have a private Facebook community. It's called a Vision Driven Mom Community, and which is a great place. I'm in there all the time. At least once a week, I do a training in there. Um, Also on my website, it's www.onefootup.com. I have a challenge coming up, which you will have access to me for 5 entire days, where I'm going to walk you through creating a life vision. So we go through all areas of life, because we know that if there's an area of life that is not working, it affects all areas of life.
Mhm.
So it's that starts on November 30th, and it's www.onefootup.com/regain.
I
And
will put
those
all
are the
that
great ways.
information. Yeah, good. I will conclude all that information. Anything else that you want us to know, or words
I
of
think
wisdom?
if they had some parting words, I would say, make a decision, decide what you want, write it
Mm,
down. This is
mm,
me. This is, and not based on the shoulds, but what you want truly deep in your heart.
mhm.
That start writing a vision. Just start writing. This
I
is what I
love
would
it.
love. Yeah.
That is a great way to end. Thank you so much, Tracy, for jumping on. I appreciate it so much. And I'm already feeling like, okay, I know how to go get more joy. So thank you. Thank you for that.
Dr. Kim,
And
it's been fantastic. Thank you so much for having
yes.
me.
And now I'm going to go join you on your show.
I know. Oh, and my podcast. I forgot.
Your podcast. I'm going to be on it now.
My podcast is coming. So
Yes.
catch up with me in the Facebook group or online and on my website. And yeah, it's coming next week.
Yay.
Yay.
All right. I'll talk to you soon,
Thanks.
Tracy.
Bye-bye.
Bye.